Hey guys, it's Wednesday, 1:35 a.m. on October 10th, 2018. And as this stuff usually happens at night when everybody's in bed, I thought I'd just check before I went to sleep here myself. And sure enough, we have this closing in. We have now got a full cyclone, not a totally full, but at least part of it has now become a cyclone. So I want to zoom in and I want to show you some of the stuff that I'm observing on radar, just because this is a national effort, and I think it is definitely worth pointing a couple of things out here. Not just with this storm, but with the whole what's happening across the entire country. Because this is, as I say, these kinds of storms are a national effort. They take a tremendous amount of electromagnetic manipulation across all sorts of parts of the country to get this kind of stuff to happen. So just thought I'd show you that the eye of this storm is actually closing in, and it's actually taking more of a tight, you see a full cyclone here. And I also want to point out to the people who have been complaining that, oh, in Truth by Grace, the radar doesn't come out that far. Baloney. I've just showed you this particular storm come completely up the coast from Cuba to here. So if this had been a cyclone a minute before now, it would have been showing up, because we've watched this entire storm do nothing but go straight north. So, you know, this whole idea that there was no radar here is baloney. The storm has just crossed the path, and we've seen it on radar. So this is actually the very first time we are seeing this storm close into a circle here. And I also want to point out here this beam that seems to bleep in here from Key West over the northwest part of Havana in Cuba. There it is. And there are a whole bunch of other anomalies going across the radars here. One of them I want to show you right here outside of Houston. There are a handful. I think maybe to give you an idea of why I'm pointing this out to you, let me show you the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Look at this. This entire country has got weather going in bizarre directions. I mean, up north here in northern Michigan, it was almost 85 degrees today on October 9th, 2018. That is so unseasonably warm. You can literally see the moisture come up off the bay and off the fields and the trees. It was just like a cloud was being sucked up from the ground today. It was weird, and the EMF static and the noise is horrible. It's like I feel like there's just a vice on my head. There's a noise to it. It sounds like a bunch of fluorescent light bulbs in a big high school gym. It's a terrible sound. But as you can see, guys, we're not the only part of the country that's experiencing this. Look at the rest. I mean, we've got the storm that's been brewing in the southern part of Texas here that goes straight up Louisiana. You guys, this is just totally not normal. You don't have a jet stream that goes from the Gulf of Mexico to Lake Superior. That's just not how the weather works. You know, there's something very strange and unusual happening here, and I propose to you that it's because of the electromagnetic frequencies that are being pummeled in various forms. I mean, what is happening here in Texas, you guys, is a crime. You know, I mean, look at how the weather is going directly from the Atlantic Ocean pummeling in towards Georgia and South Carolina. I have a feeling that what's going to happen, because this jet stream is just so intensely going from south to north, that it's a ton of electricity and EMFs, pressure and temperature, radiation of the atmosphere, that what's going to happen is as soon as they shut these machines down that are manipulating this atmosphere like this, is that this whole entire storm system is going to start collapsing, because there's a tremendous amount of cold air up here in Canada that is being held back by the storm. And as that temperature drops and this electromagnetic frequency, I don't know, tent, it's almost like a hot air balloon is holding all of this up. As soon as that stops, this whole system is just going to come crashing down. And considering that there's snow up here, it's going to be an ugly storm. I mean, it's going to be all this cold air that's just going to come rushing down, and this heat is going to dissipate, and there's going to be some pretty bad storms along here. And if this thing doesn't bring a tremendous amount of rain, this Michael thing, then these will. I mean, as soon as these collapse, these are going to go straight down to the south down here. You know, and that's probably going to be what pushes this storm off to the Atlantic, because if you look right now, everything is blowing, you know, towards, you know, from the Atlantic inland. But as soon as they shut all this nonsense down, which they can't keep this up forever, then we're going to see this big Michael storm here go barreling off. Probably that's probably how it's going to hit Virginia. And if it's not what hits Virginia, then this stuff will, because this is a huge storm right here. Whatever they're cooking up here is just huge. I mean, look at it. It looks like there's just like Texas has turned into a plasma state. This is just awful. Take for example what's happening here in Arizona. This is a desert, you guys. So why would there be this constant, you know, forced cloud formation right here in Arizona? It's just it's a desert. This should not be happening there. And then this swoop, see how this is all swooping over from the north down to the middle part of the country. This is not good. Something bad is happening here. And I think that's what makes this happen. You know, all these pressure temperature differentials that are being artificially forced into our atmosphere are creating this kind of a storm front that goes from south to north, which is completely unusual. You know, and look at this. You've got this weather coming from the north going straight south. That's just not how weather goes. Weather usually goes from the west to the east. And that we're having everything going upside down, topsy-turvy. And consequently, we have this storm down here. So I think this is a huge national effort. But let's go back to Intellicast, because I want to show you that it's more than just these. We see some of these ring things happening outside of Houston, and they're faint, but they're worth mentioning and noticing and taking a closer look at, because it's not just here in Houston that you see them. The rings aren't just in Austin and Houston, but they're definitely there, and I want to point them out. San Antonio, Austin, they're big rings. You just might see them faintly, but they're definitely big. There's all the way around Corpus Christi. You see how these clouds are being formed? They're not really clouds. They're like rings. See that? I'll see if I can't get a little bit better view here. Maybe if I zoom in, it'll be easier to see. No, it's too far. It's double zooming in. I only wanted to zoom in one time. Let's see. Well, you can kind of see them. You can kind of see these things flash up. All right, now I'm going to scroll up north as this map comes into view, and you can see there's also some in Little Rock. There's some in Arkansas here. They're all over. They're all over this entire band as it comes into view here. But wait until I show you what's going on up at the north. You've got some over here, a little bit in Topeka, outside of Topeka. Watch this as we come up to the north. You have some big one right here. You've got a big round one right here. Now look what's happening up here. This is just a tragedy. Look at what's happening in Marquette. Marquette to Thunder Bay. Look at Thunder Bay. This goes right across. I mean, this is on purpose. There's no doubt that this is I mean, look at all these. It's very, very hard to manipulate weather to go in a certain pattern across the Great Lakes, you guys. There's so much water. There's so many variables that are impacted by large bodies of water that it's very hard. If they cook something up to the west, it's very hard to get it to move in a straight pattern across one of the lakes, because there's just temperature differential there that it does not allow for weather manipulation to work. And that is why you see these huge, huge energy radiation beams here from Thunder Bay to all the way to Marquette. I mean, that's just a tragedy. I can only imagine what the trees must look like there. And look at over here in this part of Canada. Obviously, you guys, we are not the only ones who are doing this. The Canadians have to be in on this, because this is in their land. I mean, this is Canada, folks. This is the Canadians doing this. You know, and they're doing it over here too. So they must be working with us. on this because this is just a tragedy. Anyway, so I suspect that what we're going to see over the next couple of days is as that storm Michael, look at this, it looks like the letter T. As the storm Michael, comes ashore, I cannot believe this. Look at this. This is such a mess. What a disgusting mess. Our country should be ashamed of itself. This is so not normal. Oh well, as they shut these things down, which they're going to do, this entire system here is going to start collapsing down from the, central northern part of this country down to the eastern part here. And that's really, I could imagine that Virginia could get slammed with all of this and all of this, because this stuff is going to collapse and the normal systems are going to take over. I mean, look what is behind here. This is a mess. You've never seen, and I guarantee you have never seen a right angle for our jet stream ever. This is just not normal. But it's obviously what is necessary to get this kind of a stupid manipulated storm brewing down in the Gulf of Mexico, when there's no hurricane there. All right, speaking of no hurricane being there, let me just take a peek here. Yeah, because look at that. Look at it swirl around now. Well, there you go. United States of America. All right, let's just do a refresh here and see if there's any new wind speeds. Anything new? 42,003, we've passed by that one. Highest wind speed reading we have right here is 52 knots. Well, we're getting closer, but no hurricane yet. How far away from land? No, we still have a couple hundred miles. All right, you guys, I'm going to go to bed, and I will keep you posted, taking some more clips as this thing updates over the next handful of hours. Okay, good night, you guys.